Well, let's talk now to Lorenzo Codogno, who's a former chief economist at the Italian Treasury. Welcome back to the programme, Lorenzo. So, as we were hearing there, Giorgia Meloni's party ahead in the most recent polls, which aren't fully up to date because of the way the system works. But how likely is it, do you think, that she will become Italy's next prime minister?
I think very likely, because unless opinion polls are completely wrong, which I doubt, I think there are many uncertainties these days on opinion polls, but certainly the gap is so wide that unless, again, they are completely wrong, she will become prime minister. There is an agreement within the coalition that whoever takes most votes will become prime minister. And I don't think that President Mattarella can actually stop her. So I think most likely she will become the first female prime minister in Italy.
So if this comes to pass, we're likely looking at a far-right coalition in government with quite a few big personalities involved: Matteo Salvini, Silvio Berlusconi. How can this group work together?
I think the big question mark is whether Meloni will work together with Salvini, because they are basically calling for the same far-right votes or right-leaning votes. So I think for the stability of the government, a working relationship within these two persons is absolutely crucial. Having said that, probably for the first time in many years, Italy would have a centre-right majority in parliament, which is pretty wide. Now projections call for something like 62% of the seats, which is a huge majority. So for the first time, there could be stability in government for a while, unless, again, the two major leaders start fighting.
And what about parties like the Five Star Movement, which was the largest party in Italy's outgoing coalition? A figure suggesting they are gaining some ground. Do you think there's any chance for them, or is Italy just looking for something new in the shape of somebody like Giorgia Meloni?
Well, you know, Italy, I think Draghi did a wonderful job, and there was a very strong support for him. However, Italians are really under pressure right now because of the cost of living crisis, and they want to change. So they tried with the Five Star Movement and it didn't work out. They tried with Salvini and didn't work out. So now they are calling for Meloni. Meloni has an advantage as well, because being a young lady, she is a kind of unlikely leader of a far-right movement. And indeed, I have to say that she has been consistently moving to the center over the past few months. So it might well be that once she is in power, she will try to kind of become much more mainstream than many believe.
And how do you think Italy's relationship with the EU and perhaps the shape of the EU itself might change under a Meloni-led government?
I think that is a little bit tricky, because Meloni's Brothers of Italy is in the same party of law and justice in the European Parliament. And Salvini is in the same parliamentary group of Fidesz, the Orban's party. So effectively, the big chunk of the new government coalition in Italy would actually be outside of the two major groups at the European Parliament. So that means, in my view, that most likely they will be sidelined in terms of the major debates, policy debates at European level, unless over time Meloni decides to move towards the European Popular Party. But for now, this is not in sight.
And how important do you think the timing of this election is, given the issues that it's thrown up, considering the backdrop it's against of war and the economic problems that are going on?
Well, clearly it is a very tough and difficult time, and the task of leading Italy is daunting for any person, let aside Meloni. But I think, broadly speaking, I would say the focus of the campaign has been energy bills, the cost of living crisis. Foreign policy, although it is closely linked with the cost of living crisis, hasn't really entered that much into the political campaign. And by the way, I think any new government is unlikely to change Italy's stance towards Russia or towards Ukraine. I think there will be continuity, at least on this front.
Okay, Lorenzo Codogno, great to get your thoughts today. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.